5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hello, everybody. I'm Dear Myrtle, your friend in genealogy. Welcome to MiniMyrt. And I want to talk today with Simon Davies and tell him what the heck am I going to do with all this stuff I've been collecting. And all this stuff, some of which is parceled out to my children. I realize I can't do it all. And Simon has a solution. And I had a lot of fun in the green room talking with him about this. So I created a little PowerPoint so I won't digress too far because this is an overwhelming topic. The heirlooms, the documents, the one-of-a-kind documents I paid money for, lots of little paper snippets, things my dad had, my grandmother had, a love letter that my grandpa Harold gave to my grandma Myrtle on an old receipt, and I keep it because it's the love letter part, not what they bought from the store that day. So Simon is from weare.xyz, and you will recall we talked with him during a Mondays with Myrt a couple of weeks back. Don't worry, I'll put the link in the show notes. But these are the things that I've decided to do. I'm going to divide and conquer. I am literally going to use something I call the red box theory of organization, where I am literally taking what I've got and creating a red box with the lid. You can buy them at Walmart. I don't know if you have Walmart over there, Simon, in England. Do you? Probably not.
I think they bought one of our big chains, Asda.
Okay, so it answered. But make it red and make them all the same. And I'm letting each of my daughters know, and there's 3 of them, that the other daughters have one. And in it are things I'm going to ask them to scan for me. And if anything happens to them, the red box is where all that ephemera is. I'm responsible for taking pictures of 3D things like the great-great-grandmother's chair that I have in my sewing room, etc. And the other component of this is having an account at weare.xyz. And as a disclaimer, I have to let you know that Simon gave me a free account. However, he did it because I got so excited in weare.xyz as a private. Can you hear that noise, Simon?
What noise? No.
Okay, good.
Oh, your plumber.
The plumber's working in the kitchen. I'm finally going to have a kitchen sink. Anyway, weare.xyz is a space where I am creating a private and very interactive family history archive for my living descendants and my ancestors, but I need their help to do it. I'm also another component of this, and this is what it'll look like from my daughter's point of view initially, because I don't want to just throw this program on. They're working 50 hours a week and running entire parts of corporations with multiple streams of information coming to them 24/7. They will know they have the red box. They know that I will set up an account. They'll have an invitation to weare.xyz, as will each of their children, because all of them are capable of scanning and uploading. They will also each have a 4x6 card. Now, what is that? Now, there's some logic to old Myrt here, Simon. It takes me a minute to get around to it. That 4x6 card that they're going to have, I probably should tape it on the lid of the box, is a sample of how to name the files as they're scanned. This happens to be old Myrt's naming scheme. I like the year first. Then I like the surnames in capital letters and given names upper and lowercase, and book cover, book page 1, book page 2, etc. In a folder, all those scanned images fall into a nice timeline. Okay. That will be so those are the things that my children will be working with. Okay. And we're going to skip ahead past the 4x6 card. And this is what I'm going to do initially as we get going with our We Are account. I'm also going to do some scanning. Also, as owner, I'm going to be aware of the progress my daughters make. They could delegate this to their children. They're all in college, actually, or graduated, except for the not so little redheaded girl who's turning 13. She can do this. She can definitely do this. I, however, am going to upload the GEDCOM file of my entire family tree, and so that it's up there on the We Are account, this space I'm creating with Simon's help at We Are. I'm also going to notice as their scanned images are showing up on our website that I can tag them. I can, in effect, attach them to the ancestor in question, my grandma Myrtle's birth record, her baby book, page 2, etc. And if more than one person's mentioned, I can associate it with her parents, for instance. The other thing I'm going to do is occasionally, like frequently, like once a week or so, take one of the uploaded images, either I did it or one of my daughters, and send the link to it via text message on my phone, which is the main way I communicate with my entire family and individuals, and ask them what they remember about that event. Now, we've had some interesting events, Simon, in our family. Years ago, there is the story of how now she's called Great Grandma Blanche because she's my stepmother, and she's my daughter's grandmother. So for my grandchildren, she's Great Grandma Blanche. There was the time that she almost washed out to sea from British Columbia, from Vancouver, British Columbia. She was in an inflatable boat and she had to be rescued by other members of the family. And I don't know about you, Simon, and maybe you don't have this in your family, but with any given incident, there are multiple points of view, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, as long as mine is the one that's right.
Absolutely. I know. That's why I'm doing it. I should think of inviting my brother and things like that, but I want to flesh out what our family has here first so that there's something there for him to see. But that spotlighting and asking my family questions to, what did you remember about that day? They're each going to have different points of view, and it pulls together each little facet in a comment associated with that image, which makes for very rich information for anybody who wants to focus on that photo. They'll get more ideas about what the event actually looked like. It struck terror in our hearts, believe you me. And the dog was trying so hard to walk on the water. It was a new new hunting dog that my dad had who wasn't too used to the water. And old Gretel girl was trying to get to walk on the water and her front paws would sink down, hence the dog paddle. But anyway, I digress. Another thing that I'm planning to do, I'm going to add a map of exactly the park in British Columbia on the salt water where we were at the time that the tide started to take Great Grandma Blanche out to sea. Now, it was probably only half a football field length, a soccer field, But believe me, when your loved one is floating out and she's panicking and the one oar drops out of its linkage or whatever you call those oar holder thingamabobs. I'm a technical person, you can tell. It's pretty scary. But think of other things. Like, I like to collect postcards, and that's why I stuck it on this slide, Simon. I like to select old-timey postcards for the towns where my ancestors once lived. And careful to get it at about the time period they lived there. So whatever Main Street looked like, or the courthouse, or something like that, the hospital that dad took her to, that kind of thing, helps add to the story. When I think of my grandmother being born in a tiny little town in southern Utah, those buildings were made out of adobe brick in the time period 1893 when she was born. My grandkids have no idea what adobe brick houses look like unless I go to the effort to find some publicly available copyright-free image of an adobe house. It's different, sort of like a sod house in Nebraska, but not exactly, because sod at least had more grass than just, yeah. Anyway, you get the point, folks. The next thing to tell you, though, is that it will really be fun to meet on a monthly basis. I'll probably use Zoom so that the family can come in. I've got grandson and his wife back east in Boston, and people, I'm here in Washington State, as is one daughter. The other daughters are in Utah. And eventually, I know that my son-in-law's parents are going to want to start coming to these meetings just to be sure they get their photos added to this collection. I will add them as a member of our weare.xyz. Now, the thing to tell you is this is exactly meeting the criteria that I have. Let me turn off my screen share and talk seriously for a moment. For the last year, my goal has been to share rather than do additional ancestral research because I'm overwhelmed with all this stuff. My girls want to help, but they don't live here to help. So the least I can do is prepare these red plastic boxes with a lid, and take them to them next time I visit, which will be in August, July or August, and talk with them about this plan. Sharing is different when it's in the environment of we are. When my daughter signs in, if she happens to look at the tree, she will be the center of that tree. And she'll see it in the context with her as person number one. If she's uploading, remember, she could learn to tag. They're all quite capable, but I'm very happy to do it if they could just get the scanning done. So thank you, Simon, for creating this website and promoting it and listening to Jennifer and meeting with me. Any comments about my plan? Should they be tweaked?
No, I think it's great, especially to get them to touch and feel, interestingly, to touch and feel the physical stuff first. You know how the thrill of seeing a physical document or an old photograph, no matter what you do, I operate a digital platform for preserving stuff and handing it on, but there's no substitute for opening up and seeing some 19th century scrawl and trying to work out what it means. So I think really you'll find ways that they're like, oh my word, look at that. And then maybe they'll be a little bit more inclined to feel like it needs preserving rather than just inviting them in because you've done it. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
I think it's a really great idea.
I can't do it all, but like that concept of divide and conquer just hit me the other day. And And so that's my plan going forward. Well, thank you, Simon, for joining me today. There's nothing left to say to those of you that are tuning in. I'm Dear Myrtle, your friend in genealogy. Happy family tree climbing, everybody. That's a wrap.